Best Pod of Your Day, episode 6. Welcome in. It's a bye week. Hopefully everybody out there can get rested, recuperated, ready for the stretch run of Panther football as we get into Valley play when we come back. Not only that, but it's also homecoming by the next time the Panthers take to the Dome on October 4th. October 4th. J.W. Cox joined by the head coach Todd Stepsis. We'll have a special player guest, as always this week, linebacker Caleb Frazer. Excited about that. Learn a little more about Caleb Frazer. All right, Coach, is it easier or harder in a bye week to move on from a game, win, loss, or whatever? But where's your mindset when you know, okay, it's a little bit different this week?
I think it just depends on the philosophy, of the coaching staff. So if your focus is all about outcome and winning, and we all know how important it is to win. If that's if that's the only thing that matters, then it's probably a pretty tough 2 weeks. But that's not what we're about. I mean, obviously we want to win every single game. We have a lot of competitive coaches and an ultra competitive team that no matter what they're doing, it feels like they're always trying to one up one another. At the end of the day, it's about being our best. It's about playing our best. It's how can we move on? How can we improve? How can we take this loss and this setback and apply it to our best selves. And so I'm a big Ted Lasso fan, and the forest and the fairy tale is never in the beginning or the end. It's always in the middle. And so here we are 2-2. It could be 4-0 and feeling good. It could be 0-4 and not feeling so good. So we're 2-2 right now. It's time to move on. Like you said, tough stretch, lots of ranked teams that we're staring down the barrel at, and so we need to figure some stuff out. Offensively, defensively, special teams, and get ready to go here in a couple weeks.
4 weeks ago, I called it a schedule of opportunity. It's still a schedule of opportunity. It's all still right out there in front of you. When you look at the 4 weeks, what have you learned about your team, most about what this team can be and has been and is so far?
You see flashes of greatness. You see us being able to run hard and get tough yards. You see us with the ability to get explosive plays in the passing game. You see a defense that's learning how to play together and as a team. You see great coverage on the kicking game. So you see a lot of really good positive football types of things. You're just not seeing it consistently enough, and that's why we haven't had the success at the end of games like we thought we would have. The other thing that's really positive that you may not see, if all you're doing is watching games, is just the attitude of our team. We talked a little bit about it at practice. You've got your attitude and your energy and your behavior and your actions. What's the one thing that all 4 of those things have in common? They're all within our control. And so our team has had a great attitude, has been super positive. The energy's been contagious. Their behavior has been exactly what you want it to be, and their actions have reflected that. And so this week's a great week for us to reset. I talked to them about there's 3 things that we must accomplish. Number 1, how do we feel better in 2 weeks than we did, coming out of this game? So we have to take care of our bodies. We got to heal up a little bit. Hopefully we can get some guys back. How can we pour into our future of our program? So we have a bunch of guys that all they've been is really practice players. And so how can we flip the script and reverse the roles? And now all of a sudden, the guys that are playing on Saturdays, we're going to have them put their coach's hat on and call some offenses and defenses, and we're going to have the younger guys kind of go at it and run our stuff. But most importantly, it's time to recommit. It's recommitting to our standards, recommitting to our values, and then holding each other accountable to those things. I think it's a coaching issue. Sometimes we let the little things slip, and then they show up in the worst times. It's no surprise that hey, we had a couple guys late to a lift, and we've been penalized double digits the last 2 games. I mean, that's all attention to detail, and those are all little things. And again, this is a great week. It's like kind of now or never. Hey, we need to recommit to doing the common things in an uncommon way. And if we can do that, and again, and have it from the top down, not me, our position leaders and our leadership council, if it comes from the top down, if they're doing everything right, they've got great influence. People will follow, and we're going to be off and running.
I'm curious from, as everybody's getting to know you and how you look at things and go through your season, I know by the time you get to face a team in a game week, you're going to watch them a lot. Are you paying attention to other Valley games as much as you can throughout a week just to kind of keep a high-level picture of what's going on, or is that not part of your routine at all?
Yeah, I'd be lying to you if I don't I pull up ESPN and, I'll scroll through the FBS scores, and then I'll scroll through the FCS scores. I'll scroll through the D2s and the D3s. You see a score of a rival team or a conference team, and you notice it, and but I'm mainly looking for like buddies, like, oh, how did my buddy who's coaching at West Georgia do, or how did my buddy who's coaching here do? It's more about that, and then you kind of notice those things. But gosh, when you start looking too far ahead, that's when you really miss out on what's happening right in front of you. And so, I actually spoke to a group earlier today, and I always have like a little slide presentation because I'm a visual guy. I'm not you can talk to me all you want, but I got to see it and I got to do it. And so I always throw a couple slides up, and I have a slide of 3 pictures in my office. It's a picture of Addie when it's her first season when we were in Iowa, so she's like just barely past 1. And I've got a picture of Angie, Addie, Avery now, and myself when we were our very first day on the job as the head coach at our previous school, and then a picture of us, back in December. And so like they are side by side, and it's just a constant reminder of, number one, what's important, but then number 2, not to take anything for granted, And so I think sometimes when you're looking ahead, and that's in game, you're looking towards the final score, gosh, you miss out on all that great stuff that happens right in front of you, and no different for our team. And, trying not to look ahead, but hey, what's the next thing? Well, for us, it's just got done with practice. Can we get in the cold tubs? Can we get a little bit of treatment in? Can we get a great meal in? Like, those are the things that matter.
And then finally, as you look at this week, that's what's in front of you right now, the bye week, and then another week of prep before you play again. If you could wave a magic wand before you get to the Friday before the homecoming game and have one thing squared away going into that gauntlet of conference play, what would you wave that wand at right now? It
would be the details. I mean, gosh, now there are some things that, you watch our game from a week ago, and it was the tightest ball game I've ever been a part of as far as officiating is concerned. And I joked at the press conference, like, I think they were getting paid per flag. So there's some things, like, I don't know if there's anything we could have done differently, but I do believe that, hey, man, we're going back to basics this week, back to fundamentals. And so, just like those little things of making sure our locker room is picked up, making sure we're wearing the right things, making sure that we're early to everything, those little details are just as important on the field. So it's like, okay, what's my stance looks like? Where are my eyes supposed to be? What's that first step? How's my pad level? What's my hand placement? All those kind of little tiny things consistently done over and over and over again become habits. And so we just got to get back into those habits. And I think, wave a magic wand, we get to the end of that game. How many penalties we have? And gosh, I'd love to have, just a handful. And I think some penalties are good because that means you're playing hard and aggressive. And I think there's some penalties out there that you can live with because guys are they're just doing their best. They're redlining, they're going for it, and you can live with a few. But boy, we've had some really bad ones at critical times that, have either halted the momentum or have really just hurt us in the long run.
All right, the guy that's going to join us, Caleb Frazer, he's coming on next. And what I see from Caleb this year is enthusiasm, is joy for the game. What do you see from him, and how does that kind of echo as you go day to day with him, around him?
All of that. I see all of that. And I think that's who he is, and so it's great to see him kind of be that and his actions, emulate that. He is a fifth year, a last season type of guy. And it's neat to see like those guys, like, wow, the clock is loud. Like, it is really ticking. And these 2 weeks, during the bye week is going to feel like the next 8. I mean, the next 8 are going to go by really fast. And so you can just see how much he appreciates just being out there, being a part of the team. And then, of course, like, it's showing up on Saturdays. Like, he is all over the place. He plays with the Energizer Bunny, man. He is everywhere. And if you watch him, you can see it, crazy athleticism for a linebacker. Like, usually linebackers don't run and jump like he can run and jump. And it's funny, I remember back in the spring, we talk about on offense and quarterbacks talk about level 2 balls. And so those are the ones that, they're over the second level, but in front of the third level. So they're not, there's not a whole lot of arc. There's some zip to it. And you like for that ball to be kind of right around like the crossbar, like right around, that 10-foot, height. And I thought we put a great level 2 ball over Caleb, and he somehow got up and like tipped it. And so, yeah, he's got some crazy athleticism, which obviously helps his productivity. But again, it's like how he plays the game is why he did so well this week and why he continues to be a big part of our defense.
All right, we'll learn more about him, talk to him coming up. Segment 2, best pod of your day. Stick around. With you, it is the podcast of note for UNI Panther Football. We talk with head coach Todd Stepsis, and we're always joined by special player guests. Happy to be joined this week, 5th-year senior linebacker Caleb Frazer. Caleb, thanks for coming out. Thanks for joining us after a day of practice and everything else you got going on. I want to start with your position group because it's a group your coach has talked about a lot. It's a group that we've come to know with the 3 of you that are out there right now. How do you describe – you can go with the starters, but also the room as a whole because it's more than just you 3. How do you describe the linebacking group this year for the Panthers?
This year, I think we got a lot of fire behind, our butts because last year was not a good show for, what we are able to do. And it comes with the young guys too. The young guys are taking initiative and learning the defense, knowing that, hey, we're going to be out of here in a year. It's their time. But our group right now, they're savvy, eager to learn. And I take pride in, having those guys around me.
You look at that, and you've got a guy in Tucker who's been around. You've been around basically the same time. He's played a little more just because of the way things have gone. But how key is it to have leadership in that room like yourself and like Tucker to be able to help point you guys in the right direction?
Yeah, I think it's key, especially for the guys coming in, right? Nobody's, you're coming in, you've never done this before. Having a leader in your group, that's taken, the young guys under their wing, essentially kind of teaching them the way that they've done things around here. I think it's very important. In creating a culture, as a group of linebackers. I think that's important for sure.
When you look at your career, you go back to high school, and Coach mentioned your athleticism in the first segment. A lot of that was born out. You were a running back. Yeah. You're a high school running back.
The best linebackers were high school running backs.
Okay, that's the question, right?
27 years of coaching, that is 100% so true.
So that's a fact, right? Like, so you can take a great high school running back and turn him into a linebacker. But in the back of your mind, was there ever any I was ever going to be a linebacker or a running back at this level? Do you wish maybe you had tried that out? When you put that in perspective, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I always think about it. I really did enjoy playing running back in high school. It's a different ball game for sure. But I wouldn't change anything at all. I enjoy playing linebacker. I love my guys. I like hitting people now instead of getting hit. That's a huge plus for me. Yeah. But yeah.
I'm surprised you haven't bartered, hey coach, fourth quarter, can I get a carry?
You need some extra carries out there, right? The way things have gone.
I'm surprised you haven't. I mean, it feels like we get that from defensive guys all the time, and when I coached defense, it was no different. I mean, it was like, hey, can I go in for a rep of fullback? And we actually at our old school, we took the team to China, and I'm not China, but Panama. Took Team China back in 2018, but we went to Panama, and the team that we played was awful. And so we started doing that. So it's like, you were a running back in high school? Oh, okay, you're going to play running back this series. Oh, you were a fullback in high school? So I take any kind of payment.
Now it's in his head.
Any kind of payment, food, whatever you're offering up, we can make it happen.
Good news. It's good to hear.
All right, and so you're at the – actually, I want to follow up, why is that? You have a running back. Is it just the athleticism? Is it just versatility and what you have to do as a running back too? Why do you think that is over your years that you've seen that?
Well, they're very complementary positions when you look at body types. The great running backs. You don't need to have great length. He's got really good size and height. So they're similar as far as collisions and contact, so, to be able to deliver a hit, to be able to keep your balance. I mean, I don't know how you feel, sometimes when you're trying to work through the garbage, you probably feel like you're in a washing machine at times and you're kind of ping-ponging off of guys and, trying to stay on your feet. And, then all of a sudden, you're still attached to a block and then you got to take this ball carrier on where it's very similar. the first time you're getting hit and you're trying to stay up and you're trying to get those extra yards. So like there's a lot of similarities when you look at critical factors for both positions. But again, like the way the game's played now, to be able to go sideline to sideline, to be able to close ground and space, it's just kind of how it is in both positions. You kind of need that, and it's just, I think the very first team I ever heard where like that was a philosophy was the Hurricanes, back when Jimmy Johnson was there. So they ran a 4-3, and a lot of the principles that we use here are similar to that. The Miami defense back then, but their starting 3 linebackers were all high school running backs and like all Americans. So like that was kind of where it all started, and it's so true. It's weird. Like there's been some like constants. The high school running back being stud linebackers. Lacrosse players have always been really good football players for us, but multi-sport in general. Like the specialization in football is almost a red flag, to be honest. But yeah, no, it's cool.
All right, Caleb, let's take you back. You guys were super successful. One of my favorite all-time high school mascots in the Papermakers, right? Like the Kimberly Papermakers. You're just leaning right into every bit of Wisconsin that you can right there.
Absolutely.
But your coach, Coach Steve Jones, he was over 11 years. He was 129-9.
Mm-hmm.
Won 70 games in a row at one point. What was that culture like to be a part of and to continue on in the way you did and just be a part of all that?
Right. A lot of that, credit to Coach Jones. He was like one of my favorite coaches of all time, just solely based on a personal, agenda. Like he cared more about, the players than he did football. And that's kind of what I like about you. It's a lot of relationship built, team atmosphere. So he's very invested in his guys. He's a great leadership coach. He's been traveling the nation, going to these big schools. Washington was one of them, just, kind of teaching them about leadership as he sees it. But I think that is like what created the culture around Kimberly football.
Well, and that was what I found too. Like he wrote a book, and he's talked to the Packers. He's done a lot of different things. Did he were you guys his little test subjects at times? Was he distilling some of that out to you guys? Do you remember some of that before he went on and did that now as a second career?
Yeah, I'd say we were, I guess, test subjects. But at the same time, it's applicable to everybody.
Yeah.
Like at a certain point, it comes down to like what kind of a man you are. Football only lasts so long. You can do so much with football. But at the end of the day, what's next? Are you a great man? You're a great family member? That kind of thing.
Do you have a copy of the book?
I do not have a copy of the book.
Okay.
I
think I want to get it.
Yeah, I got to find it. It is the Twin Thieves.
Yeah.
Fear of failure.
That's his book?
Fear of judgment. Yeah.
That's his book.
Oh, I've read that book. Oh, it's awesome. That's a great book.
Oh, he's in demand. He's all over the place. So,
dang, I didn't realize that was him that wrote that.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Yeah, that blows my mind.
Now we got to read it again.
Yeah, might as well. It's great. It's a great book.
All right, so now we transition out of high school. You get here. You're a fifth-year guy. We mentioned you've never been able to play more than 8 games in a season, just the way injuries have gone and things like that. What was your preparation like? What's your journey been like as you kind of reflect on what you had to do and the work you had to put in? I'm sure as a freshman you would have loved to play as much as you possibly could, but you probably weren't ready to do that at the level you needed to. Now you are. What's that journey been like? What's that work been like from point A to point wherever you are now?
It's been a grind. 5 years is a long time. But freshman year coming in as off of just playing offense, I've never played defense before. So obviously my first couple years was like really just understanding what defense is about. Like in high school, it's a little bit different. You're kind of just flying around the field trying to make plays. And now you have a certain job to do before you can go and decide to make a play. And, I think that was just a big thing for me, just learning what defense really was. But then again, injuries happen. Everybody's going to get injured at some point. You don't wish that on anybody, but, just taking time, in the training room, getting right. The weight room was a big thing for me too. Just being as strong as I can be, for the times that I'm able to compete.
I'm sure there are times in that journey, and whether it's an injury or you're trying to come back or whatever it is, there might be some discouragement. There might be some thought, hey, maybe I need to start the next chapter of my life right now.
Right.
This might not be where it is. What was it that kept you coming back? And now here in year 5, getting your opportunity, what kept bringing you back to Panther football?
You know what? I think it's part of the grind. I like working hard. It's fun, especially when you got guys around you. I think my class especially is what kind of kept me around. We're a pretty tight-knit group of guys. We've seen a lot of stuff happen throughout our 5 years, whether it's new coaches or whatnot. But just everybody being able to, stay in one spot and be loyal to the program, loyal to each other. I'd take, pride in that as well, being a part of that sort of culture.
You think that's paid off for you so
I
far?
think so.
The experience you guys are having? I mean, again, a lot to be determined on the field, but just the experience of what you guys have gotten to do over the last year now?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, a lot of guys, not a lot of guys were playing their first year. We had Sergio and Lane prior who were, in our class, so it was good to see those guys, get to compete and really do well at what they were doing the first, 4 years they were here. But now, like, at the end, all these guys that didn't get the opportunity are now getting the opportunity. So it's fun to see, guys getting in and being able to compete after, kind of waiting for forever, it feels like.
That's how it's always been. I mean, it feels different now, Coach, with the way the game is and the way it's structured, but that's what it's all about, right? We've talked about that before, getting a guy in and being able to watch him grow to have a chance 4th or 5th year to be the impact guy.
That is the best part of our job. I mean, watching a guy go through that transformation and stick it out. Like that's the thing is, what they have gone through, they will have so much success in life because they have a skill now that is starting to go away. And that's the skill of being able to handle tough times, being able to work through it, and come out on the other side. And so, it's so neat to, again, see guys go through that, wait their turn, and then, hey, man, when their number's called, they're answering the bell. I mean, that's another, like, it's so rewarding to, like, this is everything that we know that you can be, and you're working hard, and then to see a guy get out there and shine like Caleb has, it's really cool.
You ready for the lightning round?
All right, let's see it.
Let's start with if I say the GOAT, who do you first think of? Can be
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Old soul.
I love it. Yeah, there was a lot of clapping that just went on.
Yeah,
Right?
it better be.
All right. What's your hidden talent?
My hidden talent. Oh, boy.
It doesn't have to be that hidden. You can share it.
I don't know. I could drive stick.
Oh, yeah.
That's about
old school.
old school again kind of thing.
Old school
Where
thing.
did that come from?
I don't know. I've always been kind of into, cars and bikes and stuff like that. So I had a motorcycle for a while. Ended up getting rid of that. Got a little 6-speed manual. So I've been tooling around in that.
Is that what
for
you're
a little
driving
bit.
now?
That is what I'm driving.
Those are few and far
Yeah, there's
between.
not many of those
There's
around.
not a ton of
Not
No,
many
there's
of those.
not.
stick shifts
It's
anymore.
fun.
All right. If you were a superhero, what would you want your superpower to be?
Fly. 100%.
Yeah, that's the first thing I think of too.
Easily.
The teleporting would be kind of neat.
Yeah, I guess.
So it's a good second best to get fast.
Similar thing.
You guys just want to get places. That's what I'm hearing.
Get somewhere quick.
Enjoy the journey.
All right. Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Christmas.
Absolutely.
No hesitation.
No hesitation.
When you get older, it changes.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I
then it's
suppose.
like all of a sudden, like I don't get crap for Christmas anymore. Man, I'm always the one like it's like giving stuff, and then there's a little bit of stress involved because you want to make sure you don't forget everybody. But yeah.
But the vibe, it's
The
hard to
vibe's
match
high,
the Christmas
yeah.
vibe.
The Christmas vibe.
I like
is
Christmas
great.
trees.
It's yes.
The trees are fun to look at.
Yeah.
It smells.
Are
I
you
like
a
Christmas
real-
smells.
It sounds like I'm dogging it. I
No,
love Christmas.
I trust me.
I love
a lot of
Christmas,
people
but-
out there get exactly what you're saying. Real Christmas tree only? You do a fake tree or
no,
just no
real
fake
Christmas tree. Got to be real.
Okay.
Do you go get it? Like,
Oh yeah. Saw it down.
do you chop it
Haul
down?
it. Yeah.
Is
Good
there a
time.
place? Is there a place nearby where you guys always go?
Not nearby, but back in the day. So I'm up in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So about an hour and a half north, we go up to Door County.
You're
used to
getting
do
further
that.
north up there, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice, but they got a little tree farm. So as a family, we go up there, cut down a tree, and haul it back to Appleton and put it right up.
I'm picturing the Griswold family
Yes.
Christmas, and they're driving up.
Getting under the
Get
truck.
saw. You gotta dig it out. Oh man, that's great.
That's pretty much what it
what a
was.
cool tradition.
Love that.
Cool
All right, go-to karaoke song.
Go-to karaoke song. Oh man, not a big karaoke guy. Party in the USA's got to be a pretty good one. It's classic.
That is a classic.
Yeah, anything that anybody can sing along with.
Absolutely,
It
yeah.
drowns the sound of your voice.
Need a little
That's kinda
help
how I go,
sometimes. Yeah.
All right, so you're on the road with the family to go get the Christmas tree. So you're going to go on the road even longer with a teammate. Who's the teammate you'd most likely be able to spend 15, 16 hours in the car with?
I'm gonna say Aiden Dunn. that's my guy. I don't know if I could last 15 hours with him.
With any, that's a high bar. Yeah.
Before I start, beating him up. But other than that, Aiden's my guy. I'd probably go with Aiden.
We've had a couple Aidens.
Yeah. No, he is funny. He's a funny guy.
Good guy.
He's fun to talk to.
Who's controlling the music if you and Aiden are rolling through? You.
Yeah, 100%.
What's on the radio or what's playing?
A lot of rap.
Oh.
A lot of rap.
Okay.
Kind of my thing.
That is. Oof.
I don't know. A lot of guys like country. I'm not hating
it.
Not hating on it, but not my style.
Now you like the new stuff or the old stuff?
A little bit of both. I like a lot of new stuff. I'm a big Gunna guy. I don't know if you know Gunna.
Yeah.
Kind of style.
I do.
But then me and my buddy, one of my boys from back home, used to listen to Biggie.
Oh yeah.
So we used to just
that's my era.
Yeah.
Stick
Tupac,
shift.
Biggie.
Yeah, stick shift driving, Michael Jordan watching, Biggie listening guy right here.
100%. Give Me the Loot was our song, so it's a good
All
song.
right.
Check it out.
All right, the last one I'll get you out on. What's been your favorite Panther moment so far?
Favorite Panther moment? I think it was my very first year. I got to travel, which was awesome. I got to experience a lot of things. We went to South Dakota State, and we got them good at their own place.
On Hobo Days.
2021.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
So that's probably one of my favorite memories of all time. Just, the atmosphere after that, being in the locker room was awesome, and we haven't really gotten to take a shot at them for quite some time. So
Gives you something to shoot for.
yeah, I'm excited. Yeah.
All right, Caleb. Well, it's been great to catch up and get a little bit more info in who you are under the helmet. So thanks for coming out.
Appreciate it.
All right, that's it. Best Pod of Your Day, episode 6. We'll have another one. Might be special. Might be a little more crowded in here next week when we bring this. We got some ideas percolating here that Carson's coming up with. So be sure to check out YouTube. Be sure to check out Panther Point of View for the audio version. UNIPanthers.com for all the details. It's Best Pod of Your Day. Catch up on any episodes you missed. Panthers off this week, but homecoming October 4th. We'll see you all in the Dome. We'll see you throughout the week at all the festivities. Go to UNIPanthers.com/homecoming, and you can get the whole schedule and everything you need to know about coming on back and being a part of the celebration. Thanks so much for watching. Go Panthers.